أعزائي المشاهدين حركها.
صحيح. بدك أعزائي المشاهدين
أعزائي المشاهدين، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. وورن ديفيد اسم ارتبط بالحركة والنشاط، عبارته المحببة أنا ابن عرب أو عربي أمريكي أو أمريكي من أصول عربية. وورن هو أحد المساهمين في تعزيز وتقوية وتمتين الحضور العربي الأمريكي في المجتمع الجديد، المجتمع الأمريكي، تعزيز وتقوية وتمتين التراث والثقافة العربيين من خلال مساهماته الكثيرة والمتعددة في نقل إذا صح التعبير ونقل ما لدينا نحن العرب أو ما لدى ثقافتنا من تميز وجمال، نقلهما إلى بطريقة ذكية وماهرة وطريقة راقية للمجتمع الأمريكي. وورن ديفيد هو إعلامي تخرج من كلية الإعلام في جامعة أوهايو، وأتقن فن التواصل بين المجتمعين العربي والأمريكي. عرفته حين تبوأ منصب المدير العام للشبكة العربية الأمريكية ANA التي كنت مراسلها في ديترويت في تسعينيات القرن الماضي، وبعدما انتقل من ميشيغان إلى العاصمة واشنطن بعد انتخابه رئيسا للجنة العربية الأمريكية لمكافحة التمييز ADC. هذا الأحد، مساء الأحد القادم 26 من الشهر الجاري، ينظم وورن ديفيد وزوجته الدكتورة أمال ندوة فيسبوكية إذا صح التعبير عن بالرغم من ظروف وباء الكورونا، ستكون الندوة للحديث عن والتنسيق مع مجموعة من المهتمين بفكرة أو مبادرة شهر التراث العربي الذي هو شهر نيسان الحالي من كل عام. طبعا قائمة إنجازات الصديق وورن ديفيد وزوجته الدكتورة أمال، اختصاصية اللغة العربية، ثنائي اللغة، سجلهم في المجتمع العربي الأمريكي له قائمة طويلة ومتشعبة. التقيتهما في الشهر قبل الماضي في المتحف العربي الأمريكي في ديربون، حيث زارها ضمن جولة لهما في العديد من الولايات الأمريكية لتسويق المبادرة المتعلقة بالتراث العربي الأمريكي. طبعا اختير هذا الشهر شهر نيسان من كل عام ليكون شهر التراث العربي الأمريكي. وورن ديفيد هو معي من العاصمة واشنطن للحديث عن هذه المبادرة. Warren, I would like to warmly welcome you to our show. Thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me, William. It's a pleasure to be on your program. Congratulations, by the way, on your relatively new television program. I know that you've been an icon in our community as far as media for the last over 25 years or more, and we really are very complimentary of the work that you've done, and thank you for promoting the Arab identity over the years through the media.
Thank you, Warren, again, and I would like you to maybe shed some light or give us summary of your initiative, when it started, and what was the circumstances that led you to start this initiative.
Okay, great. Well, first I should probably just a little bit give you a quick background on Arab America, which led us to this initiative. But as you know, it started as Arab Detroit back in 2006, and it was just a website then. And our goal was to bring the diverse Arab American community together. And we all, at that time, we just had events. We were promoting events in the community, and but it was a way to bring us all together because Detroit is kind of like a microcosm of Arab American ethnicity, of ethnic different groups, and it was very successful. And then secondly, our mission was to get to Americans, to have them appreciate the Arab culture, and to have more to get a narrative that they may not get in the mainstream media. To make a long story short, Arab Detroit went on in Michigan, and then after 4 or 5 years, we found that it was pretty successful, and we said, well, why don't we, if it works in Detroit, why don't we try this nationally?
Sure.
So Detroit was like the test tube of sorts,
Mhm.
and so then we migrated it to Arab America, and started to reach out to Arab Americans around the country, doing the same types of work, on the platform, on this digital website. Then the website developed into social media. And then we started a newsletter, Arab America E-News, on email, and then a Facebook site, and then Instagram and Twitter and so forth. And as you know, Amal and I came to Washington about 8 years ago. Came to run ADC in 2011, and after leaving ADC. We were going to come back to Michigan, but we decided to keep it here in Washington so we could build on a national level Arab America, which brings us to 2017, which is just a few years ago.
Sure.
We were looking at how Arab Americans celebrate Arab Heritage Month. And some states were celebrating it in November, some were celebrating in April, some were doing it in a day, some were taking a week. But it was like everybody was all over the place, but there wasn't really any cohesive effort to celebrate Arab Heritage Month, kind of like what we see with Latino Heritage Month, Black History Month. We wanted to see like a national effort. So we came up with National Arab American Heritage Month, and that first year we had maybe 4 states that were on the same page. Michigan was one of them.
Mhm.
And then each year we picked up more states. This year we have close to 30 states celebrating Arab American Heritage.
Hopefully, you will reach the 50 states very soon. Warren, despite the very difficult and unusual time and circumstances that we are all going through due to the coronavirus, COVID-19, despite the closure and the very limited movement in almost every state, including obviously Michigan, you and other members of the Heritage Month, Arab Heritage Month, are celebrating this particular month in April. How do you celebrate amidst this difficult circumstances that we are going through?
That's really a good question, William, and that was something that we had to wrestle with because, usually Arab American Heritage Month in April, number one, it's a celebration, and it's something that we want to really toot our horns, so to speak, and talk about, the great things that Arab Americans are doing. We have events throughout April. The schools do different types of activities, cultural activities around the country. And all of that was very difficult because of the COVID-19, the coronavirus. And as things started getting canceled, many events that were scheduled for Arab Heritage Month were being canceled. We had to make a decision, whether to go forward or postpone it or cancel it until next year, and look at the Olympics. They canceled the Olympics for a whole year, right? Do we want to do that? But we said, no, this is too important because, it is April. But we decided to take a different slant, and we decided to commemorate Arab Americans this year, but to commemorate Arab Americans that are making a difference, that are contributing to the community in the wake of the COVID-19.
Sure.
Whether they're health professionals, doctors, nurses, whether pharmacists, whether they're educators. Many teachers are teaching now under very stressful conditions online because their students are not in school. Whether it's people who are giving back food. We have many restaurants. We have many grocery stores, entrepreneurs, and so forth that are making a contribution. We have NGOs, nonprofits. There are mosques and churches and so forth that are doing really wonderful things that are, in general, because we're all Americans at the end of the day. And so we said, why don't we highlight the Arab Americans that are making these contributions? At the same time, we still will go on with our efforts to educate students, even though it's online. Our materials, we have special materials that are digital. So we will move forward. and that's where we are today.
Can you put us in the picture of 217, the initial or the first celebration in Washington, D.C.? And I know that I attended the one in the Arab Museum in Dearborn
Yes,
last year, or 219, right?
that's right.
Can
Just a
you,
few.
yeah,
Yeah,
can you,
seems like
yeah,
a long
can you
time
talk
ago.
about the one in
Yeah.
Washington in particular?
Yes.
Because it was attended by so many dignitaries, members of the Congress, and elected officials, and what have you.
Yeah, I mean, the first one we had about maybe 80 people
Yes.
in this commemorative event in Washington D.C. We had one congressperson, the first one that supported us, and I have to give her credit, Debbie Dingell
Yes.
from Michigan, and she also got us a proclamation in Congress that year, and she was very happy to do that, and she represents a good portion of the Arab community, parts of Dearborn here in Michigan. And we had an ambassador, the Arab League ambassador. We had the mayor of the city of Washington, the mayor of the District of Columbia. And it was a great event. That was our first one. As we, each year it got bigger. The following year we had 150 people. And, last year we had over 300 people. And 8
Last year it
congresspeople.
was the one in Dearborn?
No, last
No.
year we did a couple of local events, but no, I'm talking about the D.C. event.
Oh, okay.
So we started in 2017. Every year we do a national event
Sure.
in Washington. But the one that we did last year, we had over 300 people. We had the mayor of Washington. We had 8 congresspeople who came. People like Debbie, not just Debbie Dingell, but Rashida Tlaib. We had Senator Debbie Stabenow. We had Judy True from California, Deb Haaland, who's from New Mexico, several congresspeople that came. And we had this incredible expose of our heritage,
Sure.
food, all kinds of music.
Dancing,
We did a Zetbi actually for Rashida, which has been documented on video.
Palestinian
It's
Zaffe. Palestinian
been shown all
Zaffe.
over the country, like a wedding of sorts. It was really
Yeah.
beautiful. And again, we were going to do that event in Washington this month, and we had 15 congresspeople, William, who confirmed this year. I guess one tells the other, but they felt
Sure.
that they wanted to be part of this because it's such a great, has so much synergy, and it's a beautiful thing, because it's really something positive, saying something about the contributions of Arab Americans. But then with the COVID-19
Sure.
pandemic, we had to cancel the event.
Right.
We were going to do it right across from the Capitol this year. So we decided to do the event rather than retreat. We said, no, we're still going to go forward. And we decided to do it online. And hence we're doing the event this Sunday.
And the one last year in Dearborn was the third one, or it was just
No, the one in Dearborn was basically an event to get people,
to inform
get them
people?
excited
Sure.
about April. So we did a bunch. We did maybe 5 or 6 events around the country.
Okay.
We did one in Atlanta, Detroit. We did one in Cleveland, Ohio. We did one in New York. But these events were basically set up. Virginia,
Sure.
Maryland,
Sure.
were to get people acclimated and to get them excited about to organize for April.
I am sure, Warren, that the perception of highly educated American people like professors, MDs, attorneys, and the elite elected officials in Congress and around the United States, especially here in Michigan, their perception of us, of the Arab in general, are great. I mean, we don't have issue with highly educated people in the United States. However, I think reaching out should be to the mainstream, to the majority of the mainstream American and also Arab American, the new generation, who are reluctant to identify themselves with the Arabic culture and Arabic heritage. How do you do that?
Well, through our education efforts first, we have an educator's curriculum kit that is purely for non-Arab teachers in general across the country that want to teach their students about who the Arab American community is. And this is a digital kit that you can, it's online, and it has like maybe 12 units to it, and each unit deals with a different aspect of the Arab American community, from immigration, well, first about the Arab world, where we come from,
Sure.
to immigration, to our diversity, religiously, ethnically, to the contributions that we've made, to issues that confront us. There are many issues that confront us, whether the civil rights issues or immigration and so forth. And so we have that, and we've disseminated that to thousands of educators over the years. And every year we add to this kit.
Sure.
As you know, my wife Amal was in education
Sure.
for over 31 years with Detroit Public
Bilingual.
Schools, so she
Yes.
had a big hand in helping us to develop that kit. So that's one way. Secondly, regarding your question on young people, that is a problem. That is a problem. Many of the people that work with us, we have 17. We're very grassroots. We have like 17 teams, we call them. Like we have Team Virginia, Team Maryland, Team Texas, Team Georgia, Team California. We have so many of them around the country. And each team, some teams have 10, 15 people, some have 20, 30 people around the country. We have over 200 people. Most of them in the past have been like baby boomers, people in their 50s and up, and not as many younger people. This year we made a concerted effort to get more young people engaged. When I say young people, young professionals, and
Especially
I would say 25%
also,
or more of those people now are younger people, which is really good.
Those who should be reached, in my opinion, and we had experience before, as I told you, and I shared this with you, when Kareem Qawar was the ambassador of Jordan in Washington, and Dr. Marwan Lemashir, they used to come to various educational institutions, to University of Michigan, Wayne State University, and do presentation about Arab and Arab American in general, and Arab heritage, Arabic culture and way of life. And it was, the impact was unbelievable. When somebody in status of ambassador talk directly to a student from all walk of life, especially those who attend respectable educational institution. I think, Warren, you have the capability. You are well versed about both culture and heritage, and maybe you can add this to your agenda to reach out for students in their classroom to talk about Arabic heritage.
Absolutely, and that's something that's very much a part of our thinking. But as with all initiatives or organizations, we have limited resources, unfortunately. Sure. We do a lot, with what we have. But we've even thought of bringing young people to Washington to develop more leadership here, because it's something that really is missing in our community. And we have many young Arab Americans that are doing great things. They're actually doing better than we did. When you look at the young people that are in the media, people that are in the medical fields, people in entertainment and so forth, and in the corporate world that are doing great things. But at the same time, we want them to be more conscious of their heritage, and to become a little bit more, hopefully to become involved. Is the Khalil Gibran, the famous quote that he was known for, he who denies his heritage has no heritage.
Right.
And so we feel that the heritage is the one common denominator that we have to bring people together.
What one thing, just of your mind, that identified Arab in general, other than the language, when you talk about the heritage, what is the most important part of our heritage that it should be displayed and promoted to the mainstream?
I think the culture. I think the culture is what brings us together. We have, as a community, we've organized in so many different ways here. Whether it's on a political level. We have many political organizations around the country. We have the ADCs, the AAIs, we have Palestinian organizations and so forth. And that's great, that it has a political angle. We have our churches, our mosques, we have, many of us, are very devote to our spirituality. And then we have ethnic organizations, that Lebanese, Palestinian, Jordanian, Iraqi, Yemeni, so many, and professional associations, ethnic and so forth. But it's great, and we do celebrate our differences, which we are. We're a very diverse identity. At the same time, there's one thing that unites us, and again, the common denominator is that we have the same values.
Mm-hmm.
We bring our children up the same way. We feel education when it comes to our work ethic, when it comes to how we treat people, our hospitality, when it comes to our food, cuisine, when it comes to music, when it comes to literature, poetry. It brings us together. You look at Khalil Gibran at the turn of the last century. There was a movement called the Pen Band, Al-Rabata, and it was an incredible thing. It was a renaissance of Arab heritage and Arab culture that emanated here in the United States, but went throughout the world, throughout the Arab world.
When you
and
talk,
I think that we have a chance to do something like that here.
Sure. When you talk about Arabic heritage, as you know, Warren, we have 22 Arabic countries. The only thing maybe in common, the common thing or ground between all of them is the language. Even there is accent when you talk about North African countries or society. What culture or heritage you promote from within these countries? How do you unify all of these countries and present their heritage to the mainstream America?
Well, when we did the Arab Heritage Month, National Arab American Heritage Month, the events that we did in Washington over the last few years, we were very conscious of making sure that we had a representation of different nationality groups. Last year it was like we had the Palestinian, but we had like a Lebanese artist, we had a Syrian musician. This year we were going to have, we had this incredible woman that's Iraqi that was going to do fashion. The Iraqi fashion is amazing. And so, she came out, she looked at the location, they were going to have model. It was going to be a beautiful event celebrating Iraqi costume and historic, looking at the Iraqi dress going back centuries. So I guess what I'm trying to say, we had Yemeni coffee last year as an example, things like that. So we try to integrate as much of the Arab identity as we can and that's typified on our website and on all our digital platforms and in the work that we do.
Talk about, Warren, the support and the encouragement that your organization received. I am sure that your organization received lots of support from the mainstream, from the American organizations and entities, and the Congress and political and what have you. But we have, as you know, 22 countries, 22 Arabic countries, all located in Washington, D.C., in the capital. And they represent their countries, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and what have you. What kind of support that your organization received from these various diplomatic corps?
Right. It's not as great of support as you would think. I mean, I wish we could say that we get a lot of support.
Unfortunately.
But we don't. We don't really get too much support, but we do. There are, I'll give you a couple of examples, though. The Tunisian ambassador came to our event the year before last, in 2018. And he was great, but he told me, they don't have a lot of financial resources, but he wanted to come and support us, and he came and he did a talk, at our about how proud he was to see Arab Americans coming together, and in a secular, non-sectarian way. He was great, So we do get support in that way. On the financial end, it's tough, we've approached them in the past, but I'll have to say that there's a couple of embassies. Because they have the funds that have been supportive to us. One of them is the Embassy of Qatar. They seem to really like what we do. They don't ask us for anything else. Sure. They're just very, just basically they support our mission as during Arab Heritage Month. That's at that time, and they're like a sponsor of sorts. And then the UAE embassy as well. But those are the two that come to mind. But other than that, it's basically, we recently started a nonprofit called the Arab America Foundation, which is a 501c3. And we realize that we need to get support from Arab Americans and from
I am positive,
Americans.
I am sure, Warren, that you will ultimately receive the support that needed in the near future, hopefully, because in my opinion, in the opinion of so many Arab American, this organization is the best thing that happened to our community, and also especially in spreading the positive word about our culture, about us, about I would like to thank you very much. But before that, for 1 minute, I want you to send a message to those who are following us today to motivate them to be part of your organization, of our organization, I should say.
Well, if there's any evidence of the heritage living, I'm a third or fourth. I think I'm fourth because I found out a great-grandfather even came here. So I'm like a fourth generation Arab American that came from Biladi Sham, from the Othman, from the Ottoman times. So imagine, and I still say Ibn Arab. I still say that I'm Arab. And if you want your children to feel their heritage, you want to carry the legacy of our heritage, and I'm not saying from a religious standpoint or political, I'm talking about our heritage.
Sure.
If you want to carry that heritage, support our efforts, because we are one of the few, if maybe the only, organization that our mission is basically to promote, educate, and connect. Those are the three things
the
we
only
do.
organization I am aware of.
Right, and I want to mention that William is a supporter of our work. We have cousins, we call them cousins, that support our work. We're recruiting cousins all around the country, and actually, to become a cousin, you get this pin that says that you are a lapel pin.
I am a proud cousin.
Is a proud cousin. We call them cousins because they're part of our family.
Sure.
And William was one of the early cousins, and I really thank you for believing in our mission.
I appreciate very much what you and Dr. Amal is doing to our community, and also to the mainstream, because you are spreading the education and awarenesses about it's a mutual, it's win-win situation. Thank you again, and hopefully we'll be with you this coming Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Thank you very much, and I hope that any of your listeners, if they would like to register, there's no cost to register. Basically, just go to arabamerica.com, or you can search us on Facebook, Arab America on Facebook, and you'll find the event posted there. And it's very easy to register. It's also on Eventbrite, and you can register for the event. It's from 5 to 6. We have about 6 or 7 Congress people. Again, Debbie Dingell from Michigan, Senator Stabenow will be there, amongst other political dignitaries, Ralph Nader, and some cultural. We have a woman from Palestine that's going to be performing. She's amazing. That's going to perform some of the Palestinian sajal. We have a Lebanese, our own Usama Balbaki. It's going to be a beautiful event. So I hope that many of you can be there.
We will be with you. Warren, thank you again. أعزائي المشاهدين، شكرا لإصغائكم ومتابعتكم، وحتى ألتقي معكم في مناسبات أخرى قادمة. لكم مني ومن أسرة البرنامج أجمل تحية، والسلام عليكم.